Now, next to religion itself, or the Bush administration, or many other things we could name, there are few things in the world, or at least in this country, as full of crap as the Fox News channel. I think that that's a pretty fair statement, wouldn't you?
And balanced.
Yeah, all right. So, my folks were in town for Isaac Newton's birthday, and they were in there. We were just hanging out in their hotel room and getting ready to go have dinner, and they had Fox News on. And I'm like, why the hell are you guys watching Fox News? Like, well, we don't know. There's nothing else on. But this report comes on. And it's already the case with TV news that so much of what is reported, especially on these 24-hour news channels, where there really isn't, they can't seem to really scrape up 24 hours worth of news to show. So there are a lot of these, phony news reports. There's all these manufactured controversies,
right?
Contrived reports just so that they can have something to have some kind of special on, right?
I mean, let's face it, there's enough news in a day to fill about 2 hours tops.
Yeah, at least, that would be of nationwide interest, certainly.
I mean, we, on the nonprofits, we do an hour and a half a week, or every 2 weeks.
Right.
And, well, that's a lot.
And you guys cover a lot of stuff. But in any event, apparently what Fox News has done is they have jumped on this bandwagon of promoting the idea that Christians are under attack from all sides. Right?
Boy, there's one I haven't heard before.
And they went on to talk about all these supposedly negative media stereotypes of Christians that are out there constantly being promoted. Right? And I had quite a lot to say about this, but first, what was very amusing about the report was that the only actual examples in the media of the evil stereotypes of Christians that they say are a proof that Christians are under attack from all sides. Right? They had some clips from South Park, like that Jesus cable access show on South Park. And they had Ned Flanders from The Simpsons, which I guess is...
Oakley dokley.
Yeah. Which, he's a parody. I don't think he's a mean-spirited parody, but he's a,
I think he's kind of cute.
I know a lot of Christians who think he's funny. Yeah, it's like the little kids, and so there was that. They tried to claim that the reason Mel Gibson is being criticized for his Jesus movie is that he has made a movie that portrays Jesus positively. That's why they're trying to claim he's being attacked. It's not, when the real reason that there are critics out there of his movie is because there is this fear that there might be some anti-Semitic sentiment expressed in the way the whole thing is dramatized. It's not that he's made a pro-Jesus movie. Hollywood's full of pro-Jesus movies. I mean, they made their bread and butter on pro-Jesus movies for so many years. Right? Ben-Hur, greatest story ever told. Hollywood has made lots of money on pro-Jesus movies.
Well, they would probably say that was way back in the time before Jesus was under attack.
Well, they could say that, but those movies are still popular.
But I mean, all these evangelical movies are becoming mainstream now, like that Left Behind horrible, awful movie.
Yeah. Well, the book was certainly much bigger than the movie. But yeah. So that was another example. So they distorted the reason that Mel Gibson was being attacked. And they also, finally, they listed as an example of anti-Christian media stereotypes, they listed the movie Bad Santa. Have you seen Bad Santa?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, I mean, I thought it was very funny. It's filthy, right? Not for everybody.
I'd be more impressed if it was called Bad Jesus.
Well, but we are biased. But anyway, this is, first off, it's not a movie that's an attack on Christianity. It's not even a movie that's an attack on the Christmas holiday itself, which is another thing that some Christians have said. And it's not even an attack on this mythic figure of Santa Claus that we're all supposed to love for Christmas. What it is, it's this story about this guy who's a total loser, right? Just this schmo who is a small-time hood, and he gets a job as a mall Santa because it's the easiest way for him to scope out stores to rob in the mall. Okay, that's the premise of the movie. But even if, you could look at Santa Claus, even if Santa Claus had its roots in some sort of Christian mythic figure like, St. Nicholas, right? Santa Claus, as he's understood today, has been completely secularized and is so far removed from who St. Nicholas was.
Well, more than that, I think a lot of Christians object to the emphasis on Santa.
Yeah.
They hate it that there's so much talk about Santa Claus and stuff.
And not enough
because,
about Jesus.
It's not, because it's really about Jesus' birthday.
Yeah, Jesus is the reason for the season, right? So you think, so in this movie, it's not even that you have Santa as the figure of spoof. It's a mall Santa, okay? And mall Santas are nothing if they're symbols of anything. I would think that they were symbols of this commercialization of Christianity that Christians are supposed to have a lot of disdain for. But no, when it is expedient for them, if Fox News is trying to contrive this article that Christians are under attack from all sides, okay, then suddenly Santa becomes a Christian figure. And of course, they had that, fat bastard Falwell came on and spouted some of his opinions. But in order to be,
you're attacking him. You're actually
well, yeah, I'm an
feeding
atheist.
into that.
I'll say what I want. This is an atheist show.
Here we are, Austin Media.
Well,
call out the reporters.
In the interest of being fair and balanced, right? Fox's little thing. They had another guy come on and, sort of give the opposing view and said, look, what is everyone whining about? You have all of this, there's a ton of pro-Christian media, right? You've got, Touched by an Angel, and I think there's like another show that just started up recently that's this, very pro-God, pro-belief. There's those Left Behind books, which are ridiculous bestsellers. Christian pop is out there and selling, and so what's the big deal? But
right, I would say that Christianity is going stronger than it's been in a long time.
In ages. Yeah. I mean, at least since the early part of the century, right?
At least in America.
Yeah.
I mean,
and fundamentalism specifically. But Fox News being Fox News, they finally had to wrap up the article by saying, and when will Hollywood learn that attacking Christians is a stupid idea? And so it ended up being, ultimately their spin on it was reinforced. But it was just so ridiculous. Just this whole, and you have to wonder. They like to boast about the fact that they've got 80-90% of the population of America is Christian. It's in their pockets, so we're this great majority. But when it suits them, suddenly they're an oppressed minority.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just...
Well, the whole idea about Christianity being under attack is part of an overall mode of thinking that faith is something you're not supposed to criticize. I mean, criticism is regarded as attack.
Right.
By any normal, sane scholars, criticism is just, par for the course. I mean, every discipline has criticism. It has to be open to critical analysis. But when you're talking about Christianity, if you mention something not so favorable, then it's an attack. It's like an essay, or it's like an interview that Douglas Adams did with American Atheists once, which I always like to quote from, which is where he talked about how he became an sort of devout atheist, so to speak. He said he was in college studying how all these different subjects are just, scrutinized to death. How if somebody proposes a theory of why the Corn Laws were passed, then there will be all sorts of arguments and back and forth stuff. But when you're talking about apologetics, it just doesn't come under that kind of scrutiny. And the reason, he says, is because it just wouldn't stand up to it.
Yeah. But you're right. People, they avoid it in the first place because belief is just this one thing that is supposed to be exempt from the same sort of critical standards that human beings apply to just about anything else. Whether it's buying a used car.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind when people tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, we love.
I argue with them.
You listen to a lot of like right-wing radio and Christian radio.
Sure, I love that crap.
Yeah.
Oh, can I say that?
Yes, you can say that. It's criticism. It's fair game. But they don't, when they get callers critical of them, it's not when they don't just hang up on them outright, it usually tends to be, there's not this back and forth.
Yeah, well, more often they're just screened out.
Yeah. Right, or they're just screened out in the first place. We like hearing on this show from people who disagree with us, because like I said, criticism is what launches interesting debates.
Sure.
and it helps people reach a consensus about things and ideas about things and how things, work or don't work. And if you stifle criticism, then you just have, all you have is this dogmatic, Orwellian system where no one's allowed to think about stuff freely, and then you just get this festering kind of undercurrent of unease, and that's not good for any civilization.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, intellectual honesty thrives on criticism, whatever kind it is.
Right.